Mhm.
Well, fantastic. Well, I want to welcome everybody into our Zoom call. It is going to be a really great conversation. We have got great questions, great interactive. So make sure that you chime in and have lots of fun. Of course, the topic is ending the drama in the trans community. And I really want everybody to introduce themselves. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, just in about a quick 10-second blurb, just so we'll know who's on the line. So let's make sure each person says hello and tell us where you're from and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into our topic. Regina, you can start.
Okay. My name is Regina Livingston, also known as Natalia Dupree. I am from Gainesville, Florida, by way of Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I grew up as a young teen until my adulthood, and I grew into my womanhood. I am the CEO of Unspoken Treasure and also the founder. And tonight is about unity and bridging the gap between the trans community. It's very important to me because I feel like I am one of my sister's keepers. And so I will always stand for my girls. And I feel like when we're falling short, we have to pick up the pieces and glue them back together because I love my girls. I love my community. So that's why we're here tonight.
Fantastic. All right, who wants to go next?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panel. No, just kidding. I've always wanted to be in a pageant.
There you go.
No, I am Temperance. My name is Temperance. I'm the founding queen mother of the House of Maison Margiela. Chastity is my name. Temperance is my ballroom name, etc. I am an aspiring actress. I'm from Mount Vernon, New York. I kind of grew up in Atlanta, though, so you can kind of say I'm a New York peach. Like I said. But I'm just here for my sis. We go way back. And also, I love my girls in the community. And I think as we get older and seasoned, we realize how much we are needed in each other's lives to lean on and understanding the journey, and that we have so many similarities versus, differences. So I'm here to end the drama as well.
Fantastic.
Accurate.
All right.
London
or Angelica? London's muted.
Well, my name is Angelica Jones. A lot of people know me as Angelica Sanchez. I am a multinational title holder, as well as I'm on the board for the Cotico Fund here in Orlando. I also participate in Divas in Dialogue, and I love trying to help people and be there for people. So that's why I'm here.
Fantastic. Maybe we get London. London, are you unmuted? Unmute your phone.
I'm sorry.
London's on the train.
Okay. My name is London Smith de Richelieu. I am also a part of the ballroom scene. I am an icon in ballroom and ballroom. I'm a part of the Hall of Fame House of Miyake Mugler. I went to undergraduate in Atlanta. That's where I had the opportunity to meet so many of you, and especially my auntie, Natalia, who I'm extremely proud of with Unspoken Treasures. It's just great to see you just prospering and doing what you want to do. And also Temperance, we go way back with Temperance and I. So I live in Baltimore, and I don't even know what else to say, but that's me. I'm London.
That's a good start. Fantastic start. I think we have someone else. I don't know who this is, but Vesper, is that your name on your Zoom?
Hi all, my name is Vesper. She, her pronouns for me, please. And I was born and raised in Florida, and I'm just concerned to see what's going on, and all this drama about we're being attacked, and seeing what's going on. If maybe I can help. Thank you.
Cool, fantastic. Well, thank you for being a part, Vespa. I tell you, I am Randall Smith. I am the owner of and CEO as well as executive director of Renaissance Cares. Renaissance Cares came out of a pageant for those who said pageants, but Renaissance Pageants has been around for 20 years. But Renaissance Cares is now its new leg of nonprofit and really working in the community. My love is the greatest passion of giving back to the community. And of course, that's how we collaborated with Unspoken Treasures, as well as A Vision for Hope and a few other organizations. And so my wonderful sis asked me to moderate this tonight, and I am looking forward to it because we partnered together to make this community great and make it whole. We want to empower this community, whether we are cis or trans or whatever we identify as. We have to work together. One of the young ladies that we work with in the trans house here in Atlanta said on Sunday, when I asked her to take a picture under the Black Lives Matter sign, and she said, I'm not going to take a picture under the Black Lives Matter. Hell, they don't care about the trans community. Well, most importantly, what we have to remember is we're human first. And then those of us who were born Black or African American, we were that second. So trans is next. So what we have to do is rally together to make sure that our communities work hand in hand together. Because it's a struggle. It's been a struggle for Black people, for gay people, for queer people, for inquisitive people. It's just been a struggle for all of us. So we have to rally together to work with one another in order to make our community whole. So I love the subject tonight. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Natalia. You can ready to say something. Uh-oh. You're on mute. Natalia, you're on mute.
I'm mute.
You're on mute, babe.
That is the main reason I started the Black Lives Matter Trans Inclusive movement here in Florida. Mm-hmm. We had our first one in Gainesville, Florida, and now our second one is going to be on the 29th in Jacksonville, Florida. And so that is going to be one of our defining moments because Jacksonville is also one of my homes. It is also a place that I care about and love. And it's also a place where one of my dear nieces was shot down and murdered, and they still have not found her killer. So I definitely had to go to Jacksonville, Florida for my movement, and I want for our movement, for the movement of Unspoken Treasure, Black Lives Matter Trans Inclusive, because a lot of the trans community feel that way, and I understand why they do. I understand, but I do have an interview tomorrow with the Black Lives Matter movement leader. Good. So we're going to try to see, can we start connecting the dots?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we have to. We have to start the dialogue and the conversation. It has to start somewhere. We can't just sit back and complain about it. We have to connect. Mm-hmm. And we have to make it right.
One of the things that people often don't mention, forget, is that the Black Lives Matter movement was started by queer folks. It was started by Black. It was started by trans women. It was started by a lesbian. It was started by queer people, and people do not know that. Right. And I think that that's one of the disconnects, because what I've noticed a lot of people saying is, I know that y'all go out for y'all marches about yourselves, but y'all. Sorry, ma'am. Actually, that was started by queer folks. Like a lot of things, whether it were started by queer folks, so people did not know that that's how the people identified,
I mean, when you think about it, the March on Washington had a Black gay man who was one of the main leaders to get it going.
Thank you.
I mean, we've always been at the forefront of these movements, and we will continue to be at the forefront of these movements. I just need for our women in the trans community to realize that we can't just sit on the sideline and expect somebody to make us feel included. We have to demand inclusion, and we have to be there and fight for ourselves. Because no matter what, when you say the word Black, it's all of our lives, because all of us are at a moment in time where we're at attack and we're under attack, and we need more people to, speak their voices and tell their stories so that, there could be some more understanding and comprehension of what the Black experience really is.
True.
Absolutely. Very, very good. Very good. Very great. Let's talk a little bit about some of the peer-to-peer issues that are facing our trans girls in the community. We oftentimes are against each other. But let's talk about some of the peer-to-peer things that are going on with the trans girls in our community.
I think what happens, and I speak about this often because I fell victim to it myself, and I think also, since it still mirrors cis hetero norm with the misogyny and like with it being like the community is still male based, it kind of makes the girls go against each other. Like they made us feel like it only could be one girl. And so a lot of times we end up being so competitive with one another that we lose the sisterhood along the way, you know. And I think that we have to start realizing that at the end of the day, I said, if you haven't gone through a transition, you probably won't ever understand it. So we need to continuously have that bond with our sisters, because they're going to be the ones who can identify the things that we have gone through along the way. And they're the ones that you really can probably break down and they'll understand why you're breaking down and need a shoulder to cry on. And sometimes we just lose those genuine friendships because of, you know, the camaraderie and the competition amongst the community. And I think that that's a big problem amongst the girls with the girls.
Very good.
I agree.
I totally agree. I think also we allow outside forces to tell us to be against each other. You know, I know coming from the pageantry world, you may have your friends or your group of people, your supporters, they don't feel like there's only that there's room for more than one person. And I've seen it in the ballroom scene as well, you know, where you're pitting girls against each other, and we really sisters and we really love each other, but we let these outside forces come in, and that's where the dismay happens. I mean, a prime example, if you think about what just recently happened on the Versus battle with Brandy and Monica, it wasn't about them, it was about the outside forces and things that people were saying and doing that allowed them to have division amongst themselves. But once they got together and actually talked about things, they realized it had nothing to do with them. So I mean, we just got to get to a point to where we can have more healing instead of, you know, bickering and fighting over things that really don't matter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so question on to that, Angelica, when you see that happening in our community, how do you think that we should address that? You know, when we see the unnecessary bickering, or even just the unnecessary bickering that we see on social media, or the unnecessarily plotting against each other, or competition against each other, when we see that, how do we really approach that to change that or to eradicate that within our own circle?
I think what you have to do is first start with yourself and realize and know that I don't want to be a part of this. This is not what I'm about. I mean, prime example is myself. Me and my best friend Chevelle, we've been competing against each other for years. I introduced her to Continental Plus. She won before me, but it wasn't no gripe. It was about all of us accomplishing this goal and being a part of this family. So we couldn't listen to outside voices telling us that y'all can compare us all you want to. Me and my sister on a mission to do something for us. We wanted to see more Black big girls like ourselves at this level of competition, and that's why we did what we did. So you got to start with yourself. You know, it won't work if you don't feed into it. You know, only a fool can occupy themselves.
Absolutely. That's very true. Anybody want to chime in on that? That's awesome.
I've always believed in authenticity. I've always been real. I've never been anyone's favorite because sometimes I'm too real. I've never, and this is with my obstacles, my ups and my downs, and my rounds and my rounds. Angelica, Chastity, and London can tell anybody that's the realest bitch you'll ever meet. Because guess what? When I was up, I kept it real with these ladies. When I was down, I kept it real with these ladies. These ladies saw me go through every obstacle possible known to man. So this space that I'm in now is a space that I celebrate because God is the only person that could have gotten me here. That's something that I know. So what I do is I pour into my community. I pour into my trans women because I love my trans women, because these are the ladies that were here when I was going through all these obstacles. So when I see a lot of back and forth and round. Cause see, when we were coming up, my generation, you was snatched with any type of beat. You was snatched. There was no tea. You just got snatched, and we was out the next night partying, and it was over. Really, no shade. I mean, because what were you gonna do? But what I'm saying is, now this is not the time for that. See, we weren't facing some of the things that we're facing now back then. See, we didn't have government saying don't provide health care for us. Right. We didn't have us being murdered that we knew of every other week or every other month or every couple of days. See, this stuff wasn't going on then. So it's a whole different world now. It's more important for us to unify now than ever because there's so much coming against us. So we need to unify. It doesn't need to be anything but unity because we're all one. And we're up under the same umbrella. And we can fight, but guess what? They're looking at us as one. They're not looking at us as different.
Right.
So that's something we have to realize. And we have to come together and we got to kill the beast for real. Now more than ever. Now more than ever.
Very much so. I recently was having a conversation and the comment came up, well, no trans has ever done that before. So it really brought about such a dichotomy because why do we put ourselves in a box because a Black person hasn't done it or a gay person hasn't done it or a trans person hasn't done it? Why do we put ourselves in a box? Why don't we accept the opportunities that we have before us, or why don't we pave the way so that everybody can have that opportunity, so we can have health care, or maybe we can be the first politician, or we can be the first gay couple in the White House, or whatever that may be. Why don't we look at paving the way, and instead of stopping what has never happened, be what could happen?
Can I?
It's definitely a different era. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I think it's a different era. And I think that, before a lot of us, before this generation made it okay to be trans and love your transness, there was a generation that was stealth and that we did our thing at nighttime, but we didn't walk around saying I'm trans, or whatever. So some of us missed that opportunity, and thank God we're still here to go ahead and live in that truth and do those things. But prior to that, I used to sing and people used to want me to come out as a trans. I dated somebody in the industry and he's like, we're gonna do this record and then you come out as trans. I'm like, no. Because at that time it was given child, they're gonna shame me. It was the unknown. We didn't have a lot of role models, and the people that were role models were living stealth. So now they're coming out as actresses and stuff from back in the day. You ain't even know they was one of the girls. You know what I'm saying? So people were doing things, but they just wasn't speaking about who they were completely. And being trans, I mean, the beauty of it loving yourself all the way is, I mean, that's a wonderful thing. But when you say box, I feel like when you grasp that you are trans and you walk in this truth as trans, it does put you in a box.
And it can. Absolutely.
London wanted to say something.
So one of the things that I guess you all were talking about before was the previous question. I really couldn't hear it before, but what I grasped was this, and I wanted to kind of maybe combine them together. I definitely believe in solidarity across movements, and I think that is one of the things that unites Black Lives Matter and a lot of other movements. Is that what we have to do is a lot of people create this monolithic view for us as being trans or gay. It's like they put us in, and we're not monolithic, And so with that being said, a lot of people have already existed and lived in these spaces that people think that they weren't. So a lot of times people say you were the first this and the first that, but you really weren't the first. But some people, just like Tracy was saying, there was a time period where it was not safe for you to identify as whom you were. And so you had to live in a disguise, and not, not to say that you weren't proud, but it was an issue of safety, right? And so a lot of people were already doing things. If you look back in, like, the 1920s, there was what was called they were called pansy balls, right? And it was even in the Afro magazine, and I could probably share some with you guys later on, but people were already living and expanding across gender identity barriers, right? They were doing this, and other people weren't allowed into these balls, right? And so for me, one of the big things that exists with us is the generational gap. There's a huge generational gap that exists within LGBTQ community, because for whatever reason, a lot of people don't like to discuss age or whatever, because people put an expiration date on your transition, an expiration date on you being a part of the community. And unfortunately, with that existing, it makes it very hard for people who may be older to share their wealth and their knowledge, because it takes a wise man. I mean, it takes a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And I'm one who really believes in that. And I think that one of the things that we ultimately need to do is to share our memories, share our experiences, so that others won't make those mistakes. I believe that I want to turn all my adversities into victories. And the ultimate way to do that is to share them, so that someone else can get the opportunity. Even if they don't take the water, you led them to the pond. They were thirsty. You led them there. You gave them the knowledge, and they have the choice. So what we're doing now, and what a lot of other people have been doing, is just sharing our gifts, sharing amongst these generational gaps. Because it's unfortunate when you go out with a lot of younger trans women. There's this unspoken battle. It's like, I'm not in competition with you. Like, I don't mind sharing. One thing about me, I will share everything. If you want to get laser, if you want to get something done, I'm not going to keep the secret to myself, because one of my beliefs is that's how I'm going to stay real to people. Like, people always create these ideas of how a trans, like, they know what you are, right? I'm not going to let you go out here looking bad, sis. I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to tell you what to do, because we all look good. When one look good, we all look good. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep that idea. I'm not going to have my sister here looking crazy, and when I could tell her how to help herself, So one of my things is definitely big around sharing those, being that oral tradition, right? Like, because when the older generation goes away, who's going to share their story? So you got to make sure we share our oral tradition, and share your resources. Stop going up to people and ask people. Don't ask people, oh, how you doing? What do you need? Ask someone, is there something that you need? Is there something you need today? And you can open up a large door of conversation around that.
You said something about.
I want to just piggyback off of that, because it is so true. It kind of go back to that golden rule: each one teach one, because that's what we have to do, and that's what people were able to do for me, especially in the gay families. And what I see is a lack of gay families now, and because of that lack of gay families, we have to do things like what we have with Divas in Dialogue, is to get us together and ask your girls, well, what do you need? What do you want? What do you see for yourself? What does transformation look like for you? And direct them and help them in those directions, because it doesn't look the same for everybody.
Fantastic. Anybody else?
Oh, Chastity, wait, quick question. Chastity, you do know how to make the 4 show up now, right? You know how to do it.
Yeah, I have the 4 up. Yeah.
Okay, slide across. Okay, I'm going to take it down.
London, you had said something about it. It was a great phrase, and I wanted you to remember it. Something about opportunities. Make your opportunities your victories, I think it was.
Yeah. So I was saying solidarity across. Turn your adversities into victories.
There you go. Turn your adversities into victory. I mean, that was powerful. That was monumental, because we definitely have to turn our adversities into victories. That reminded me of making sure that your test becomes your testimony.
Hello.
Because those are the things that we have to do in order to stop to truly stop the epidemic that's going on with the bashing and just all of the harshness and the lack of commitment and community that we have in all of our community. And it's not just the trans community, it's in the LGBT, it's in the straight community, it's everywhere. But we have to be smarter than the common guy. So I love the fact that we turn our our I'm gonna remember this.
Adversities into victory.
Adversities into
victory.
There we go. I'm gonna remember that. I'm definitely gonna remember that. Anybody else
Girl,
want
you
to
need to
share?
put that on a t-shirt.
What's that, Angelica?
She need to put that on a t-shirt.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm trying to get you some merch.
Gina, we need to borrow that. That's our collaboration.
No, I got another one new, but I was calling Dangling Divas.
Dangling
on a
Divas.
t-shirt.
Okay.
And listen, and you can use that word to think whatever you can, but it's a play on it, right?
It's a play on it.
It's a play on it. That's gonna be my next merch.
That's incredible. We brought up something that was very important. We talked about you talked about the age, and you talked about the older generation. So I want to know, what have we really done to celebrate those who've come before us that have left a monumental mark on where we are today?
I think
For
it's constantly
myself?
speaking their names. Constantly speaking their names. I know when people ask me, who did I admire, or even like in ballroom, who was my favorites, or, when we're speaking about the movements and the Marsha and, Sylvia's, and when we just keep speaking their name and just, giving the history, because some people don't research it and they don't know it. So you just have to constantly always reiterate it.
One of the things that from me, I think that, and I mentioned before on another thing, is that, a lot of times we want to talk about the people in their passing, and I think that we need to uplift them, in their lives. You don't know how much you can change someone's life, and they can be at a point where they're in their life and you can change their lives. We stand on the shoulders of so many great people, and we got to be very careful how we're defining great, because great doesn't mean that, they went to college or they have money, because someone can be great and not
just by being who they are,
just by being themselves and being authentic, and their, like you said, their testimony, when it became their test, that person could have changed your life. So I think we need to stop putting, like, boxing in what success is. One of the things, success is a journey, not a destination. We have to understand that success is going to
Hey, look what we so sorry.
London, I think your phone went out.
Oh, come on now. She was giving some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Success
Just when she was getting good. Just when she was getting good.
But just to piggyback off of her, it is a journey. And
it is.
What success means to me, it might not mean the same thing to you. So you have to make that definition for yourself, right? And figure out what's going to be best for you in your life. I think I've been successful because I've been able to be truthful to myself. Not because of all the accolades I may have gotten, but I know I was rewarded those things in life, and I earned those things in life by truly being my authentic self, wherein it may not have been the popular thing to do, or it may not have been the way so many others have done it or accomplished these things. I was able to go against the grain and make a new way, and because of that, then the other girls who come behind me have it a little easier, right? So we have to do that for each other when we live in just our own life. You got to think about the people who are to come after you, because there were so many people that came before me that was gracious with their time, gracious with their knowledge, gracious with the way that they taught me and raised me and showed me so many different things of how to treat a person and how to love on each other. And it's because of that I am able to be who I am today. So I have to pass that on. It's my responsibility to pass that on to the next generation, to the individuals that I come in contact with.
But what I will say, Angelica, you have been successful. So don't say you haven't been successful. You have been successful.
I said I was successful, but
no, you put a but behind it.
There's success in a different way.
There's you don't have to explain your success. There's no but to your success. You were successful, and that's what you got. You don't have to say it in a different way. You were successful. It doesn't need that extra stuff. Simply because what you've done, you paved the way for many, many girls. You know, just like those girls paved the way for you. So you have been successful, point blank, period. We don't have to explain ourselves from that point. You know, so that's what I think we have to get out of. We have to learn to celebrate ourselves and what we've done, but at the same time, we have to be able to pick somebody up and bring them along with our success. You know, that's what it's all about. That's what that collaboration is all about.
And I think that's been the problem, is that so many people keep it for themselves.
Right, we can't keep it for ourselves. You know, even in the Bible, it tells you to share your talents. You know, it tells you to truly
because you can't take this. You can't take it with you when you're gone.
you cannot take it with you. You know, and it's something that we do in a class. You know, and it's so interesting. I'm glad I got back to my office, so y'all forgive me. I was traveling a little bit and trying to get to my office, but God gives you a big piece. God gives you talents. God gives you this talent. This whole sheet of paper is a talent. Then what he does is he takes those talents and he break it in half. He break that talent in half. Then he says, okay, I'm going to break that talent into a fourth. Then he starts breaking those talents down. And he continues to break those talents down until they're in little bitty pieces. But guess what? Most people take that talent, those little bitty pieces, they either stick it in their pocket or they throw it away. But that's not why God gave us those talents. He gave us those talents and he break them up in little bitty pieces so I can give a little bit here, I can give a little bit here, I can give a little bit here, I can give a little bit here. So I'm giving away
you have to bless others
to other people so that other people can be equally as great, if not better. We should applaud people when they say, that was my teacher and I became greater than my teacher. Because that's what your parents want to do. Your parents want you to be better than them. Your parents want you to have the best in life. So that's
what it's about, finding your purpose.
It's finding your purpose, absolutely.
Yeah.
And understanding that there's enough out here for all of us. So I don't have to bash Angelica or bash Jordan or anybody else because they have success. What we do is we bring it all along together. So that's why I asked the question, how do we really celebrate the people that came before us? You know, how do we truly celebrate them without bashing them? Because oftentimes we tend to say, oh, I could do better than that. Well, hopefully you can. Here's the opportunity. You know, give them the opportunity. Here's your opportunity. Make it happen. So go ahead.
Well, I think right now, prime example is certain things like what Earl has been doing on Facebook, you know, making those things visual for us now, you know, making sure that these individuals who have done certain things, that they live on the internet as well, because a lot of this wasn't accessible like it is now, you know. So we need to see Naisha talent from nationals years ago. We need to see, you know, Tommy Ross do this from years ago. We need to see Tandy Andrews, and we need to see the Cocos, and you know, all these girls who made a way for us. It was things that we liked, but it was in our own little cult. But now we can get it out to the masses so that they can understand exactly what the art form is, what these girls have done, and what the reason why you even see what you see on TV now, what you see on your internet now, is because we stand on these shoulders. So we have to tell people, not only just tell them, but show them when we have the opportunity to.
That's true. And one thing I can say is I've always given the girls that came before me their grace. You know, I've always did that because I feel like they patterned my way. I grew up in Gainesville, Florida, country bumpkin, Gainesville, Florida. I knew that I wasn't, and I knew that I was different. I knew that I wanted to be a woman. I knew that was inside of me. That all my entire life. This isn't something that just up and appeared or a desire that just came over me one day. This is from a child. So when I used to watch the girls, I lived for the princesses that I saw. Had I remained in Gainesville, Florida, I wouldn't have never transitioned because I'd never seen anything that I wanted to look like here. I saw different patterns, but I knew, being who I was, I wanted to be a certain caliber and level of girl. So the girls who I grew up watching and the girls who mentored me, the Tatianas, the Pilars, the Jackies, the Angies. You remember Angie? Those
Yes,
girls.
Alicia Brooks, all them girls, Anastasia.
And I still,
you know.
and Alicia, oh my God, Alicia was everything. I grew up around epitome of a woman. I grew up around women who was in the community and in the straight world, killing it. I'm talking about killing it. So that gave me. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I still, to this day, give those girls their grace. Tatiana, she's still teaching me, still leading me. She's never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
She's never stopped. Stasha, just to be honest, she was a girl before me. That's my little sister, but in the trans world, that's my big sister. She was a girl before me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's people like that I saw their dreams manifesting. And those girls who were leaders. And because like Tatiana, Paula Braxton, Monique Montaigne, those girls were leaders. I was down here in Florida. Those girls would come up to you and talk to you. They were personable. Mm-hmm. They were approachable. They gave you a reason to say yes. You know what I'm saying? You didn't think when you talked to those ladies, oh no, that's not, that's not what I want to. They gave you every reason to know you was comfortable in your skin and do follow your dreams. So, when you grow up, when you grow up and you encounter this type of guidance and these type of ladies leading the way, you had no choice but to follow your dreams because you knew it was possible. You knew that was possible. And that's something that's beautiful.
Well, that opened up another question that I have is, how do you best take and give criticism? How do you best take as well as give criticism? So that's a double-handed sword.
See, that's a good question because that's what started a lot of confusion. Sometimes people think you're judging them when you're only just allowing them to be given. You're only giving them constructive criticism, and the person and the individual first has to be willing to accept it and take it. That's always lifted me up to another place when I've been able to do that. It's to be able to accept. Okay, now, but she'll just say that ain't right now. So let me go ahead and try and do this. And I'm going to try the other way, but I'm going to still do it my way.
Okay.
Right. For me personally, it's, I can take constructive criticism from anybody. But when you give me constructive criticism, just make sure that your dots, that your eyes are crossed, that your eyes are dotted and your T's are crossed. Because see, I can't take advice from just anybody. No shade. Anybody can't give me no advice.
But how do you handle it when they give you advice? How do you react to it, even if you don't accept it? This person is... Well,
we're talking about now. We're talking about now, right? We're talking about now, right? Oh, now I accept it gracefully.
Not the old, not the before.
Of course. Now I can accept it gracefully.
Okay.
But I always, with me, Temperance has given me advice. Mm-hmm. Temperance is my baby sister.
Uh-huh.
She's giving me advice. London is my niece. London has given me advice. I've never been bad for taking advice. I've never been bad for taking advice. I take advice and I take constructive criticism and I try to make it do what it do.
Okay.
So see, I'm a Cancer, so I'm a Cancer. I'm a little, I'm a little sensitive sometimes. So for me, you might want to do positive, negative, positive, or something. But but also you have to work on your discernment and knowing where things are coming from. And if this person is even the right type of person to be giving you advice. A lot of times we get kids caught up in just because somebody is a leader doesn't mean they necessarily know how to lead. So a person could also be coming at you with, as long as you're giving me you know, critical. Like if you're giving me, because when I was younger, I didn't listen, and all the things that I didn't listen to, I gagged later on, and I wish I did listen. You know what I'm saying? I was one of those girls who felt like, oh, bitch, she can't take because I can go do such and such. I'm getting my second bags, and my sister is giving, girl, your titties, you're not gonna want to do that. And later on, I'm like, I shouldn't have did that. I want to go back smaller. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just me feeling like Grant. And so I think that's where the bridge the gap, like some of the girls, like when you try to give them some criticism or help them, you know, they're in their feelings thinking that you can't take because you're an older girl now, and you know, all of this, or the younger girls feeling that they're older girl, you know. So you have to just realize where it's coming from and realize that some people do have your best interest in mind, and just, you know, it's the root of where it comes from for me. So I can accept it as long as I know that you are coming from a genuine place and you're not just trying me or trying to break me down. You know, and when I deliver it, I give it positive, negative, positive, because that's how I like it. And I'm like, you know, you do this great, but what you can work on is such and such. And I think that people can take that a better way.
And the reason I know I can take constructive criticism, Angelica, I'm just going to use Angelica for an example. Angelica is my baby niece. Angelica has been praying. When I tell y'all, that is who I call when I'm at my lowest, when I'm at my weakest. And that has been the young lady that has picked me up every time. That is way back when I was in my deep struggles. You know what I'm talking about. When I was in my deep struggles, I would call Angelica, and never did she turn her back on me. Never did she turn me away. She answered her phone, and she would speak to me, and she would uplift me, and she would pull me out of them dark spaces effortlessly. So that's why it's so important for you not to worry about where the advice is coming from sometimes. Sometimes I guess you do. It just depends. Because, you know, when it comes to advice, everybody's just not going to come up to me and give me no advice. That's just being real. But when I do have those people that advise me, trust me, they're people that's dear to my heart. They're people that I trust and rely on and in. So Angelica has been giving me advice and has been mentoring and helping me, because Angelica actually, honestly, started transitioning before me too. Honestly, she was a girl before me. You know, so even though people say all the time, girl, I can never remember anything but Natalia. But there was someone before Natalia.
For a little bit at the other one.
Right. They were out in London. In London and in Chas. Oh, y'all do hope well. This is because y'all called her Natalia.
Tinga, that's TT Tinga.
Ting ting.
Everybody, that's Tinga. And baby, you didn't want to damn her. Go ahead, friend. London. Wait a minute, London.
London's on mute again. So London.
Where you at, baby?
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm moving to my new house, and so I'm kind of like moving and talking, and yeah.
Okay.
She's multitasking, honey.
My multi-task. Yes. I was about to say something. When you all were talking, what I was going to say is that, you know, and Timbersa just mentioned, like, when people, like, one of the reasons that community is so far with when it comes to we get a little, we don't let it, like, accept compliment is because, for one, we often are thinking that we're being ridiculed, and a lot of times we're getting an admiring gaze and not one of contempt and stuff. And so we'll think that someone's like trying to insult us, and we like instantly are ready to jump and go, bitch, what the fuck? Who you look? You know, like when really someone's just trying to tell you look really nice today, man. Like this guy just pulled up on the side of me, right? And he's like, hey, lady. And I said, do I look like your goddamn mother? And then he was like, I was just trying to tell you you're really beautiful. I was like, oh, thank you. But you know, we just are always on like go, like we're ready to like amp up and go off. So I always do like a nice landing. You know, we're Kansas. I don't mind outwardly like telling people, oh, you look nice, you're beautiful. I don't mind doing it. But so I learned to just kind of compliment people first. And it's oftentimes when you speak, maybe speaking in I statements, kind of like reflected back on yourself, like things that you do. Instead of saying like you to the person, like, oh, you look what, well, when I used to, like, you know, you kind of, you know, like you make them feel like they're definitely still above, even if you're trying them. See, that's the way, like when I read, that's what people always say, like I'm a different type of reader, because I do it in a way where you wouldn't even know that I'm trying you or reading you, but I make you feel like you are the center of whatever. And so that's kind of like how, and again, it's that mentality. That's why people don't want to take the criticism, because they know girls always trying to read. But I've learned to do it in a way where I make the person still feel amazing and great, so they don't think that, you know, it's a problem. Yeah, for me, I think that and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It is so important that we do like open our mouths, you know? Like, I think that one of the problems is a lot of times and that's a cultural thing. What I've learned is like a lot of stuff is cultural, being Black. People don't understand, like, the things that we have problems with are based in the psychology around, like prime example with giving, right? So like when you want people to donate to charity and giving, there's issues with the psychology of giving for Black people, right? That we might not want to talk about, but that's why, like, sometimes people aren't, when you see those GoFundMe's up or things up, we have in the background, oh girl, they really want to do something else, you know? So it's like, they're like in the back of our minds, we're thinking that there's something else going on. And so giving this transparency, that's why I try to always, in some kind of way, like you said, I want to remain real or like someone that people relatable. But you have to understand that when you're approaching these things, even compliments, we have a different psychology around those things because of culture. So we need to learn and understand cultural competency and how that affects these conversations.
I agree.
That was great. I mean, that was great. Of, you know, you guys really answered that. How do you take criticism? Now, really, how do you give criticism? And I want to take it from a different perspective and take it a little bit further. How do you give criticism to our younger trans sisters, to your younger trans sisters that you may not have a relationship with, but you see them and you know that they need that help and that improvement? So how do you give criticism to make our community and make our industry better?
I think we answered that in one.
You did?
Go ahead.
Answer it again for me.
Oh. Go ahead. You go.
I'm serious.
I was kind of doing that too, like just saying how I would.
Yeah.
But one of the other ways I do is I also give the information to someone that I may be closer with, that may be closer to the person, and let the person deliver the information rather than me do it. Because, you know, I could give something like, oh, girl, that's Miss London. She's trying to read and she's trying to like give it or whatever. So I'll give it to their girlfriend. Like, prime example, I'll see a girl out and, you know, she might be like, you know, bearded a little bit, right? And so, and this, you got to remember, this is a different day and age. So some people, there's this new, you know, a lot of people are identifying as trans, but they're having beards and stuff. You know, there's a different day and age. So some people are, you know, identify as trans women, but they'll grow a full beard, right? And they'll still have the full beard and say they're trans women. It's fine. It's how they identify. So I don't want to go up to you and be like, girl, you know, I would rather just ask their friend, because that may be what they want to do. They may want to keep it, and so I don't want to offend them. You get what I'm saying? Or girl, I might see her leaning to the left and two of her dangling friends are to the right. And I want to say, excuse me, ma'am. No, I'm just being real. These are things that happen. And some girls, there's a new movement that some girls are on. Tempers, y'all, we're not going to on this phone and play crazy, because y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's some girls that now believe that they want to, you know, be outside untucked, and they want to have on a skirt and flop when they're out with the skirt on. They want to flop. Yikes. And so I don't want to like say something, and that's how they wanted that. So I like to just ask their friend in certain situations like that. Like, I'll ask their friend because I don't want to. Yeah.
And I totally get what you're saying, London, because we're at a point now where society somewhat is more accepting, but some of these girls, they're pushing the boundaries. When we come from a time where it's about being a lady, being passable, you know, I fall out to tell you. But
I can't see Natalia. I
what it's
can't see
about
her.
right now. You know, for us, we came from, you know, I need to look like a girl. I want to be passable. I ain't trying to get caught. These are the things I'm going to do. We're going to tell each other so everybody know, you know. But we living in
And
a
they got
different
access
world.
to all the resources to do it. They got all the free shit and everything.
Right.
And they don't want
Right.
it. So
They have no idea what we had to go through back then, dealing with the black market stuff and trying to get hormones from your fish girlfriend who was menopausal, and you trying to get birth control. You know, we went through a lot of stuff, you know, and these girls really have it made now. And it's like, girl, utilize this stuff, you know, but for some people, they want to be trans. Some people don't want to be a woman.
Right.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right.
And so, in giving criticism, I try not to give criticism anymore. I just try to give guidance. And then give guidance, allow individual to be themselves, allow them to do whatever it is that they want to do. But I will give you guidance of how to get there, how to do it, and how and show you the ways that it can be taken, because it's not always going to be taken well.
Right. It's just like it's called like we did in my office. It's It's all around harm reduction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because my thing is, you might want to go ahead and inject. Like you might just want to do Tina. You might want to do heroin, and you might inject. But if I have access to a safer injection kit, I'm gonna show you. I'd rather tell you the right way to protect and keep you safe from harm than for you to do. Because it's like people want to stop people from. Everybody doesn't want to go to college. Everybody does not want to work a 9 to 5. That's not for everybody. And we're not going to be try to box people in. If you want to escort, if you want to do porn, if you want to be on OnlyFans, let me show you the proper way so that you can do it and you know, keep yourself safe, keep yourself from getting in trouble legally. That is the kind of the mental. That's what I'm talking about like changing that mentality, you know, and getting into that harm reduction kind of cultural and change your cultural competency, but also reducing harm through harm reduction.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to tell you, London, that's exactly the way my mother and my father raised me. They told us the truth about everything, and always told us if it's something that you want to do, you want to experiment, you come to us. Because if you want to smoke weed, come to us. We'll go get the weed for you. Because I want to make sure that they ain't laced with no angel dust or nothing like that. We're not going to tell you not to have sex. We're going to tell you the proper way to have sex. Because when you're telling someone not to do something, most of the time they're going to go ahead and do it. And then instead of them going and doing it and not doing it the right way and not being prepared for what the ramifications may be, it is best to give them the knowledge of how to do it.
Yeah. I was one of those kids. I'm one of those kids still to this day. That my mama told me not to do something, I'm going to
It's just a natural instinct. You're going to end up doing it.
Don't tell me you don't like a man I'm with.
Yeah.
You just made me like him even more.
Right.
I'm in love with him at this point.
Yes.
That's the love for me.
That's true.
That is, I mean, those are very valid points. I mean, you guys know that we have the trans house here, and I teach a class on every Wednesday. And some of the trans girls are 18 and 20. And, you know, I'm 54
that's
years
a blessing.
old. Yeah, I'm 54 years old. So going into the trans house, I've got my 54-year experience walking in the trans house. What they taught me was that I needed to put my mentality to a 2020, 19 or 20-year-old.
Okay.
What I made my 54-year-old self may be thinking is totally different than what their 19-year-old self is thinking right now. So in order to be an effective instructor, an effective guide for them, I've got to think like them. I can't have a judgment zone of my 54 years because Of course, I know what's right and wrong, but I've got to understand when they're talking about sex, how to do it safely. When they're talking about doing drugs, how to do it safely. When they're talking about escorting, how to do it safely. Doesn't mean I'm a proponent of it, but it just means that now what I'm doing is helping you to be safe at what you're doing. Now I'm going to tell you that this is not right, but if you're going to do it, let's do it properly so that it will be less harm reduction. You know, so that's what we've got to learn. And I think that's where the judgment zone comes in. And no matter how old we are, we can't judge them and try to make them be who we want them to be. Because we know that it's right. But unfortunately, until they experience that, then they're not going to know any differently, because that's going to make them be like that mama that says, don't bring him back home. They're going to fall more in love with it. Or,
ooh, that's me.
Yeah, there you go. Or don't escort. They're going to start doing it because now they're curious.
Yeah.
Or don't do meth. They're going to start doing meth because now they're curious. So that's why I brought up the thing about criticism, simply because we got to know how. And I love the fact that you guys talked about, instead of criticizing, thanks, Angelica, we're giving guidance. Because that's exactly what we're giving. We're not going to criticize you. We're going to give you guidance so that you can take that guidance and grow from it. So that's something that I think that is profound, because that's something I had to recently learn since the trans house has been open, that it's not about coming in and bringing all of my experience and saying, well, this is the right thing to do. No, this is what's supposed to happen. But in the event you don't do it this way, let's do it so it's less harm reduction. So thank you as well as Angelica, because that's absolutely perfect. Anybody else got any comments on that so far? Oh no, come on, y'all are quiet. Oh, that's good. Y'all are quiet.
I wanted to say that there's some questions. There's a couple of questions in the
yeah, I was just about to try and get to that.
Okay, so here's a question.
Okay.
Do you women get more discrimination in the LGBTQ community than you thought?
That was my next question. Excellent.
Wait, discrimination or okay?
Yeah, discrimination within our.
Yeah. No. I didn't hear what you said. And LGBT. Oh, wow. Wow, that's a good one.
Honey, hit the head right on the nail.
Absolutely. That was the next.
That's where 75% of it come from. No shade.
and the funny part is that the discrimination or the prejudice that they share is what is very, like Tim was saying earlier, how we live. What we do is we live in a microcosm, right? And so we live in a space that mirrors and is very similar to the larger universe that we live in. And unfortunately, a lot of the hatred that we get, how you doing? A lot of the hatred that we get from the heteronormative community, we get that because they're gay. Like, let's just say their gay aunt, cousin, or some shit, started talking, they got information from them and then told. You give them, like, they play a part in it. Like, you'll be out and the person feels like to uplift who they are as being like a gay man. I'm going to tell my girlfriend who's a straight woman, that used to be a man, right? You get what I'm saying? And they will do that, thinking that that's going to make them get friends, or the person going to hang with them, or what, in my experience, and I don't care what anyone says about, like, in my experience, it's mostly a lot of times those, like, little studs, butches, and stuff like that love to tell a trans woman's tea to boys, right? Because it's like, it makes them feel like they are more of, like, a part of the guys, like a man, and they have the right to, like, sit around and do that. And Temperance, y'all know, Angelica, y'all know what I'm talking about too. If you the studs and stuff that be out and they want to give your tea, because it's like, it makes them feel like, okay, yeah, well, I'm one of the guys too, and we could talk bad about her. You get what I'm saying? And so,
and the sad thing, London, is I've gotten it from both. I've gotten it from cisgender women. I've gotten it from my gay brothers and sisters, And the sad thing is that what they don't realize, sometimes they're putting your life in danger.
Yes, or changing your life.
Me, I don't need you to tell about me, because I already told it before you could.
Thank you. Tell your
one thing about me. I'm always gonna be truthful, because my mama always told me, you don't mess with a man's pride, honey.
Right.
He'll kill you by it.
Right.
And so I've always been truthful about it, but it is my truth to tell. It is not for you to tell.
Right.
It's my truth to tell. And so, yeah, there is discrimination within our own umbrella of the LGBTQ plus.
Very much so.
And
Very much so.
Yeah, they feel like what happens a lot of times is the gay male feels like he can dictate the trans lives and what you should be as a trans woman, and she's not acting like a woman. The boy put out a post and said that why do trans women continue to hang around gay male or in the gay community when this community was built on their backs? Like, come on. Then they're saying stuff like, well, she's not really a woman until she goes and she has a sex change. Like, it's the same shit that happens in the heterosexual community where this dominant male with the misogyny and feel like they can dictate what goes on with a woman's body. You cannot tell me, like, I've been that, but you've never been this. You cannot tell me anything about this journey and why. Like, and I don't even expect, if you haven't gone through a transition, you probably won't ever understand it, but you can respect it. And that's all I ask. And especially coming from someone who's supposed to be our allies, it's just so disheartening when we get so many prejudices from them and discrimination from them. I don't get it. But yes, we do get it a lot within the community.
You know what's important about that, though? For you to correct it when your sister's not around.
I think it's right. I think it's a teachable moment if they want to be taught, because some of them is just,
Some people.
That's one area I go look back for something, because I'm gonna get you together when it comes to my community and my sisters and you're gonna watch what you say.
Yes,
and
it is your duty.
If you say the wrong pronoun, when you say the wrong pronoun, I get you together immediately. I don't care.
Right. When somebody always
call her a she.
Somebody.
If you know like goes, that's what you call her.
It's always like somebody want to oppress. Like, this how the blacks are oppressed, and then they want to oppress the gays.
I'm going to say the oppressed wants to become the oppressor.
Trans want to oppress the girls who are really not as passable. Like, everybody always becomes the oppressors, and somebody always got to oppress somebody else. It's always somebody got to feel superior to somebody else, and that's what happens in
the thank you. That's what I was going to say. Thank you.
But I will say this: we do have to give props to those that actually do hold us up, because there are some that actually do hold us up and respect us and care for us like we should be, I don't know if it's as many as it used to be, but far as my circle is concerned, I present them this woman that I am, and they respect me as such, So a lot of times it's also what you put out, what you give is what you get. And, when you see it, you have to say something, and there's a way you can say it so that it doesn't turn into this whole combative thing. And, child, just live and let live,
Right.
I agree.
I think the acceptance is a bittersweet too. I mean, I think before, maybe because it wasn't so many, like now you have like so many trans, and then you have the trend genders, the girls who are jumping on the bandwagon like it's a new trend, and they just want to be trans because it's hot.
They have been dragged. They have trans face.
Right. I think that's why we become a lot of times too, like we are discriminated against in the community because it gets kind of confusing. Okay.
Because you'll have people who come out who are dangling or who are bearded. And so what happens is that, like, this is my experience. I've had to educate people more so on and I can honestly say, like, my husband and everything, like, going, before we got separated, what I'll say, like, he would say they and them, like, he would purposely learn about non-binary folks and gender non-conforming. He would say they and them, and he would ask me, he'd be like, baby, what is that person's pronouns? Are they and them, or, these are, like, I want to know, like, or he would look at a person and say, they look like they might be trans. Is that a trans woman, or is that, and I was like, well, babe, and I would kind of explain to him, that I'm glad he asked, me first and how to properly. But what I've learned to do is just ask people what their name is. Like, you know, I just like, what's your name? Like, rather than the damn all in pronouns, because it'd be too much. You've been a forgot. Listen, it's so many different pronouns people go by now. They go by cat, dog. You don't know. So I just be like, what is your name? And my thing is, a lot of times people. What I'll say is this: people who are not gender non-conforming or non-binary really help the conversation a lot because when you are the anomaly, when you are the thing in the middle, because we have a very binary, very polar view when we look at people. Like, it's gay, straight, black, white, purple. No, that's not. Well, we have anything in the middle gray area is very it throws people off, and then that's when the question starts. So when that happens, that's a great conversation piece. So some person who may not look, quote unquote, as passable, or who may identify as non-binary and may have, you know, a feminine top and a masculine bottom, they just say they're wearing, like, you know, a broad top, but they're wearing, you know, like, people are asking questions about it, but then it opens up the door. Hey, this person identifies as this, and this is what's going on. And that makes a larger conversation around identity, right? And what that is, because people forget that gender identity and sexual orientation are mutually exclusive and that they are not the same. And that someone can be a trans, because a lot of times what I know is the discrimination that goes for trans women is often around who they're sleeping with, and that becomes the issue, right? So it's like, are you telling this man, are you tricking him? Or if you're messing with a trans woman, yuck. You get what I'm saying? So it's like often about who we're sleeping with is where the discrimination comes in. You know what I mean? It's always like, because even if it's like they're talking about the way you look, it's because people are like, oh, well, she's sleeping with him, so I can like him too, because, like, it'll be a gay man. He's like, oh, she's having him, so I can have him too. You know, it doesn't go like, so.
That ain't always true.
Like I said, it circles back to what we're doing sexually, or what happens in the bedroom. And people don't realize trans is who you go to bed as, not who you go to bed with. And people need to understand that this is how I go to bed. This is not who I go to bed with. I go to bed with a man, a woman. Should I go to bed with him? I mean, whatever you're into is what you're into, right? But ultimately, that seems to always be what it's about. You know what I mean? Like, are you
sexualizer?
Yeah, your sexual life. It's like,
and we do need to separate that more.
Yeah, we're ultimately
over-sexualized.
Oh, right.
And really, gender is just one thing. My sexuality is a whole nother thing. And pretty much what I do sexually is my motherfucking business. Excuse my French. But
right.
What happened to the days where this was something private? We called it our privates because this is what we do with this is private.
Right. Like, what do you have in between? You're like, bitch, is there any
between me and my other?
Yeah, that's why, like, I don't like it. And when people ask the question about your genitalia and stuff, I think it's just so, first of all, it's so inappropriate to even ask that kind of stuff. Secondly, bitch, no, I'm not going to show you my private parts. Like, that is disgusting to me. Like, you should not be asking people. You wouldn't ask anybody else that. Like, why are you asking me any of this kind of stuff? Like, what is wrong with you? And I feel like when we start to even indulge in it, that helps to even further sexualize us. Like, even with these guys, like, it's just, we are over sexualized. Like, instantly, like, just like you're dating someone and I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? You look nice. And it goes to, when you tell them you're trans, oh, can you suck my dick? What? How did we go
How we get that so quick? How in the world did we get that so quick?
As soon as you tell somebody you trans, it's instantly they want to have sex with you. What?
Even on a professional level, even when you're being interviewed or something, and they ask you, do you have a sex change?
At work.
Why are you worried about what's between my legs? Like, that's not what I'm here for. You know, so.
Yeah, but they do that at work, like, and not at my work, but in, like, prime example, in a professional setting. This guy, now listen to this, y'all. He's asking me. He knows my intellect. He knows what I like. He's seen me, whatever. We're having a whole conversation about some legal information, about some legal stuff, whatever. Girl, he sends me a picture of his dick. So I'm like, because now he knows I'm trans, because we didn't. So he sends a picture of his dick. First, I was disgusted by anybody that I get instantly disgusted. So he sends a picture of his dick. I don't reply to it. Now, mind you, sir, you see me A, married. B, you see me with another man. Obviously, you know that I'm taken. And then you send me a picture of this wee-wee, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? And then on top, it's like, you're sending me this picture, right? If you had all these stereotypes about me, I thought that would be another stereotype that I like big things because I'm trans. You know, since they make all these stereotypes. And I didn't reply to it. And I've not replied to him.
London.
What happened?
I think
she moved around and she's probably out of
Yeah.
network right
She
now.
probably
Okay.
got out of range. That's probably what happened.
We have another
I
question.
still see her phone on here though.
Her phone is on there, but she
Yeah,
just
it's on there.
But go ahead
She
with
probably
the
got
next
to just come back in.
Yeah.
But the next question is, I'm from the late 70s when trans term didn't exist, but mothers of houses and femme queens were respected and protected. What has changed with today's younger community? Now, let me tell you,
She kind of said it in the question.
I can definitely respond to that one. When I was coming up, I was definitely protected and respected. Femme queens in Atlanta, Georgia, if you touch a girl in Atlanta, Georgia, she could be a complete stranger. You were going to be attacked.
That's the way we were in Florida and Duval and Orlando.
That's true.
We were viewed and still seen as women, and you don't put your hand on no girl.
On no woman. I mean, I know for me personally, I know I was one of the untouchables. Piggy was one of the untouched. Chastity, London. I mean, you couldn't be touched. I
see y'all tell a million of things.
And I don't care where we were. You couldn't be touched. And I think what's changed now is the new generation has let different demographics penetrate their minds, and they don't respect who we are because they don't even respect themselves a lot of times. They don't respect who they are.
But you know what? Let's call a spade a spade. It's the way most of these kids brought up today. Let's call a spade a spade. The black family ain't what it used to be either. So what we used to give to our gay families was what maybe our family didn't give to us because of what we were, and those that had been put out and cast aside. So we took over where those parents couldn't deal and hang. You know, so because we didn't get it, we knew what to give, or because it happened to us and we did get it, we knew what to give. But today, there's a lot of families, period. I mean, this is outside of just race. It's too many single mothers, it's too many single fathers, it's too many broken homes, and people just don't know how to love each other no more. People go straight to anger instead of love, and that's the problem. They don't respect it.
That's true.
Well, everybody got quiet, Chief.
Okay. I think Brandon's phone went on.
London's coming back in now. So, Chastity, what's your stand on it? What's your stand?
Oh, I kind of just expounded on it. I think the last time is that well, first of all, like she said, let me pick it back off of yours, like that family aspect of it, like, you know, even from Ballroom and, you know, Natalia, and you like from Atlanta, you know, we went through things together. Like you said, when kids were kicked out of their house, you know, you had that female figure or that male figure, the leaders who actually took these kids in. We ate together, sleep together. If I ain't have, you ain't had. You know what I'm saying? So it was different. You looked up to these people as these leaders. I think that now, because there is such the umbrella is so much bigger for trans, and because there's so many trans, you know, and like you said, the first people that were supposed to teach you how to love didn't give you that love. So how do you even know how to love? So they're not even loving themselves. So they could give a fuck about.
I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but I have some kids that revere me as more of their mother than their real mama. You know, even like I've always tried to make sure that I have a relationship with their parents, at least one of them, you know. But I've had some of their parents say, well, girl, I don't know who raised you, but they raised you well, and I learned from you.
We just talked about this topic on my
giving that love to each other.
We talked
I'm sorry,
about
go
this
ahead.
the other night on Vigo. Like I had a panel and it lasted for about 3 hours on this one topic like this. And, you know, some of the gay males that were on there were saying, you know, respect goes both ways. And they're like, you know, the girls are quick to say you faggot, you blase, blase, blah, you know, or whatever. And so, and I thought, I mean, I think a lot of times that's in defense, like it's in defense mechanism. It's like it's the go-to for the girls because y'all are quick to say, bitch, you still a man, you know, or you know, but I didn't come around that and I don't have that in my circle either. And I will, if I have to side eye you, bitch, it's giving, okay, all right then. It was nice knowing you. Because I'm not gonna do that. Because if you're not looking at me like my mother, I'm my mother's daughter, I'm my grandmother's granddaughter, I am like throughout my family. And if my family accepts me, then I can't really give a fuck about anybody else. And so those are who I align myself with. And so I am protected and I have been protected. And we do come from that era, but it is really trying it these days. And I mean, I don't know.
And I think also you got to get to a point where you don't want to be around toxic energy anymore. You know,
Right.
Some people like that, so they stay in there.
I think it's sad. I would never stand and let anything happen to no sister of mine. And when I say sister of mine, I mean wholeheartedly a trans woman. I will not stand by and let anything happen to anybody. And if I know the people on this forum know me as well as the people who are watching, I've never been one to let things just happen and I just sit back and act like I don't ignore it. I don't see it. You know, that's just not where I'm from. That's not where I come from. That's not how I was raised. If we have a problem, hey, wait a minute. What's going on? You know, let me know what's going on first. While I'm telling the little baby, go to the car, boo. I got this. You know, because it's just, you can't stand by and just let something happen to someone and think that's okay the next morning when you wake up. You okay? Right. You're okay with yourself. Like, you can wake up the next morning, wash your face, and just move along like nothing ever happened. That really means the problem is bigger than I could ever imagine. If anybody can feel like that's okay. You know, like when I hear...
And you gotta realize...
Go ahead.
You gotta realize sometimes it ain't on us. It's not on us, it's on them. They revealing themselves. And you know, I have a way of talking to people to when I'm not finna sit and argue with you. That's just something you're gonna have to work on. And I ask the question, baby, what happened to you? Because if you come to it with compassion, it'll make them question some things. I want you to leave here and ask yourself the proper questions.
Right. You're right.
Like, what did you get out of attacking me? Like, when I walk by straight boys, if they say man, hell nah, I say man, hell yeah.
And
now, what did that do to you?
My grandchild actually just asked that question.
No, go stop. Guess what? I know too.
He said, just like the situation with the young trans woman who was jumped a couple of weeks ago in Atlanta. I'm gonna be completely honest. That was one of the situations that sparked this forum. When I saw that, I was floored. I could not believe that was happening. I could not believe that this was trans women jumping on this one girl. And you saw clearly that the young lady didn't want to fight. She did not want to fight. She was terrified. She was running. And a mob of trans girls was running towards her. And butch queens were in the middle of it, pushing it up. And I felt some type of way. I really did. I felt some type of way. Didn't know either girl. You know, didn't even know either girl. But I felt some type of way because this is not what we're supposed to be.
And this is a girl that they called the queen. Like, this is a girl that the community, like, when she's performing, everyone loves her. She's the queen of the scene. And this happens to her.
No.
Like, that is just so crazy to me. I mean, I was bothered by it. And yet, you know what? That stemmed from another girl in the scene. That's what I mean about that. Like, and they'll find out later on that they're just crazy. I mean, the scene brings you up to bring you down. And so at the end of the day, all you're going to have is just this. And you want to come and fight them and all of that. Like, that, it just doesn't make any sense.
It's the generations. Listen, this young generation is they on go. They ready to box and fight and shoot. I mean, look at like, having next week to bury somebody who was, not my family, but also not only my family, but someone who I looked at as my child, right? This younger, my mind, I'm sorry. Community, they don't have the same. They're on go. You know what I mean? They're ready to shoot. They're ready to fight. They're ready to beat you up. They're ready to do all of these things, right? Because like I said, the generational gap. They lack empathy. I don't know if it was something in them chicken boxes they was giving out back in the day. Like, people got or in the milk, but they don't have empathy. And I think that's one of the things that we need to learn. Because you can't even teach people to be empathetic. We can teach them to be compassionate or sympathetic, but empathetic is something that I am, and that's why I always tend to attract narcissists, because they look for empaths. And that's because I can see with someone else's eyes, feel with someone else's heart, and think feel with their skin and all the pain. And it could be a gift and a curse. And a lot of this younger generation doesn't have it. That's why, like in Baltimore, when you look at the murders and stuff, a lot of that is happening because of the younger generation. They are the ones doing a lot of the killings and stuff. That's why if you listen to some of the rap songs, like even with NBA Youngboy, they're like, "Oh, I got my little boys on go," because they know those young, they be ready because they feel like they're invincible. They'll do anything. They get crazy with you, and that it didn't even matter how much they revere Tamaya, how much they love all the different things. They're just on go, right? It doesn't matter how much respect they're supposed to have for you. They're ready to square up with you, and that to me is so disgusting. Because back when I would never open my mouth. I couldn't even disrespect people who are in the older generation just because that's how I was raised. I couldn't do it, even if they tried me. But, they don't mind.
And that's just period.
Something
that's
to be said about,
world.
Right.
It's just the world, period, right now. We have gotten to a point to where bad behavior is rewarded. We reward bad behavior.
Yes.
There's nobody saying, girl, why you do that? Would you do that? I mean, it makes me feel some kind of way when I see our kids whooping up and jumping up on each other, and the first thing everybody do is pull out a camera instead of calling the police or trying to break it up. That's just where we at now. Bad behavior is rewarded. And because of that, they think the badder I am, the bigger I am, the better I am, the better I am. And it takes for people to start condemning that shit. It needs to be condemned.
That's true.
Right. It's just like remember when you were little and oh my God. Remember
London's going away again. London, you're going away again.
What she said?
London, your phone. I think something wrong with your phone, London.
With y'all laughing,
I think
and I'm laughing.
She moving around, she's doing things, child, and I think it's going in and out the air.
Can y'all hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, because I'm outside and the Wi-Fi just. What I said was, remember when you were in school, right? I used to be the fucking bitch. The class, everybody falling out laughing. I could be so funny and stuff. The shit was, bitch. While y'all laughing at me, I'm laughing. While y'all are laughing with me, I'm laughing at you because I got all A's, and bitch, y'all are failing. And so I can laugh in the class and make all y'all laugh, but because that's what you want to do. And I never thought it was cute to be the stupid girl in the class. Like, how people thought it was cute to be the dumb one or the one in class where, you would. No, I never thought that was cute. I knew what my trajectory was. I knew that we had to get older and leave there. And a lot of people still have that mentality from high school back then or middle school and where they just want to, be funny and all that dumb shit and get attention, but forget that they have to live a real life when they leave that situation. So after you done beat this girl up, do y'all not think that now that, okay, you're an adult, so when the police come, your ass is going to adult jail, and you're going to jail. Like, they aren't thinking about that.
But it goes back to that reward. Now going to jail is street cred, so that's a reward for them.
Oh yeah.
So you got to eliminate that. That means, oh, bitch, I got street cred now. So they think that make them even better.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right now.
Disgusting.
Random.
Yes.
Take off.
So what we really want to focus in on is really understanding, like in the community, in order to make our trans community better. Oftentimes we have to focus on self. So what do we do to really uplift self, to be our very best self, to make a difference in our community?
The only thing I can do personally is walk the walk that you talk. If you're not walking the walk, there's no sense in talking it. And I try to completely do what I'm trying to teach others to do. I'm trying to lead by example. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to live honest. I'm trying to work. I don't put anybody down for what they do. I have daughters that still do sex work. And guess what I tell them to do? You need to invest, daughter. You need to invest. Let me tell you how you can invest a few dollars, so you can get to the next level. So I'm not gonna say, oh, you should be doing that. Oh my God, that's disgusting and all this. No, that's not how you help somebody. You talk to them and you just give them nuggets. You give them nuggets on how to move another way. And I just try to live it how I talk it. That's the only way I feel I can make a difference. If I'm asking you to do something, or I'm telling you you should do something, and I don't tell anybody anything anymore, because you can't just tell this new generation something. But I will give you a nugget. I will give you constructive criticism. You can take it or not. I can't jump out a window because you didn't take my. But what I will do is let you see me thrive, and you'll see that you should have followed those things that I asked you to do. Because you see what I'm doing in my life. You see the betterment of Natalia, especially people who know a little of your journey. When people know a little of your journey and they see you doing different things. I had somebody text me today and say, "Are you in a hospital?" I said, "Yes, I work for the University of Florida. So I'm in a youth gender clinic." I make sure I let you know exactly where I'm at. Yes, that's what I'm.
Let them girls know.
Right. With my badge.
What I think.
I tell them real fast.
Wait, I don't mean to cut y'all off.
Also,
with my badge.
Go ahead.
With my badge.
Wait, Ruth Bader Ginsburg just died, y'all, on the Supreme Court. That means we just lost a liberal vote on the Supreme Court.
Who?
So,
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she just died. So that means that's a liberal seat. That was one of the votes. That was one of the votes that we needed. That's how this thing have went through. So hopefully we get, we get Biden in the office. You guys, it's very important. We cannot let Trump get in because he gets to decide. He gets to pick the next Supreme Court justice. So we cannot let that happen.
Yeah, he will have chosen 3 if he gets to choose before the election.
Yeah, Trump has definitely got to go.
Yeah, so, and that's something that I was going to bring up next is really, we have to really focus in, and starting to hear about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But the next thing we got to really focus on, in order to change the thought pattern and to change the lifestyle and to change the skills of the LGBT community, the Black community, that's anybody's community, we have to register and we have to get out and vote.
Amen.
That's one of the big things that we've really got to be proponents of. We've got to take our children, our families, our drag families, our associates, our co-workers. We've got to take them to the polls. So we really got to be an active role, because the only way that we're going to change the lives of our community is by getting out and changing the laws. So
Amen.
we truly have to work together and be compassionate about making a difference in our laws. And this is very important, especially with what just happened. So guys, it's important that we really rally together to get out and register people to vote as well as to vote. So that's very, very key. Are there any parting words you guys want to leave with us?
Go ahead, Pete.
Can I leave with this? Cause that really just done messed me up. It is imperative that you vote for this very reason. People that actually will bring about change. And I've been hearing a lot of people, not pleased with Joe Biden and stuff, but sometimes you just gotta make a choice that's gonna push you to the next level. If we keep doing what we've been doing, we're gonna continue to go down this downward spiral, and I just don't want to see us there. I have lived through Pulse. I have lived through this pandemic. I have lived through so many things over these past years that we just got to band together and do something. What you need to realize is these people have the right to appoint a justice. And just like the reason why we bitched and complained about Kavanaugh and all these other people that was coming in was because we did not believe that they would vote in our best interest. And we have somebody just passed that has always had our best interest at hand and really upheld the Constitution to its creed. And to lose somebody like that, we've got to make sure we vote locally. We got to make sure that we vote statewide and nationally and vote for what's going to be in our best interest. And then when you vote for these people, hold them accountable.
Amen.
And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Angela. That was awesome. Very good.
I just want to say, we're at a time, the world is it's just so much going on in the world. We have California on fire. We have cities burnt up completely. We have sadly just came and destroyed cities and homes and killed a few people. It's times are is of essence. We have to become one. Because divided, we're definitely gonna fall.
And that's where we at now. We are falling hard. Rome is falling, honey.
Mm-hmm. Divided, we're gonna fall. So my message to the world and my community especially, we need to join. We need to unite. The petty stuff that y'all are arguing about is so not worth it. Fighting about your name and who bumped into you and, oh, she's trying to give me drama and she's trying to give me too much. That's yesterday. That's yesterday. The stuff that's going on in the world today, it should pay attention. That's one thing. Pay attention. Get your head out the cloud.
The world is crying out to us right now. The world is crying out to us right now. Mother Nature is crying out to us right now. God itself is crying out to us. And if you do not lend your ear and you do not hear, if we do not learn from the mistakes of the past to create a better future for the children and for our families, we are doomed.
That's true.
Now, if they want to pump fear into somebody, pump that kind of fear into the world, because that is what's going to make somebody change. Wake up, people. It's time out for foolishness.
But my message is just we need to unify. We need to love on each other a little more. And we need to be there, uplift each other, hold each other. That's from my
Let's
heart.
celebrate our differences Let's celebrate our differences. Let's uphold each other and love on each other. And I don't even gotta like you, but I will respect you. Let's get back to that.
Amen.
Well, can I say, because I got to start driving real quick.
Yes.
Going back to the, but let me just say this quick. It's kind of picking up all the things you said, but let me just tell you something. It's my thing is this. And this is a message, everybody. First of all, listen. Let me just give you a breakdown. Look, this is what I got on while I'm moving. Look.
What? Is that a
We can't hear you. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
She said that's what she got on while she moving.
Okay. I said, look, this is what I got on while I'm moving. Because my thing is, I always believe be true to yourself. If you can't be
is
true to
that your
yourself,
breast?
you can't be true to anybody else. I'm true to myself. Like I'm gonna, and the thing is that you gotta sometimes get up and just, when you at your lowest, get up and dress your best, because it'll make you start to act your best. Like when you, how they always say dress to impress. Like I really truly believe in like how they always make you dress up when you go to the club. Some certain clubs, the reason they do that is so people won't fight when they get in there. That's the theory behind it, right? When you're dressed nice, you're not gonna fight. So that thing is, I feel like when you get up in the morning, turn yourself and make yourself feel like the person that you ultimately want to become, that rich and famous person, whatever that is. If you got to take and put a fur rug on your place, make yourself exude what you think that you should be, and look and see, make sure what you see in the mirror is looking back out at you, right? I've learned to do that. Even when I was sick, when I had caught COVID or whatever, right? I got my ass up. I got into my look. I was fine the next day. Let me tell you something. I got up and got into my look, put on my music, and was my regular self in the house. And I made myself get better. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of things. I believe in your mind is so much more powerful.
Affirm yourself.
I believe in in channeling and all that stuff. Like I believe in it. So the other thing is that like you said, know about voting, but not just about voting locally, federally, statewide, but also know about what the comment period is in rulemaking and how important that is when it comes to like the different agencies, which I can explain to you guys, explain whoever later on. Administrative law is very important, and that's how we make a lot of these things that happen are done on the administrative level through administrative law. And like you have to understand how the rulemaking period is and how that can really, really change a lot of things. That's why a lot of there aren't a lot of protections for trans people, because of some of the things that happen in the rulemaking period. So we got to understand and know that. And the other thing is, make sure you guys get out and vote. I don't give a fuck if you guys listen. Make sure that you're registered. Make sure that you're on it. Make sure, like you said, hold people accountable. But make sure that you know that your ballot got the fuck in. There's some people do mail in. Just go to the place and actually vote. Period. And learn to
put your mask on and go.
Yes, but learn to also be more empathetic towards other people. I think if we were more empathetic to people, we wouldn't see some of the violence, some of the other things that we have going on. Because you might. Truth is the reality of your own experience. So a lot of times people think that because you look a certain way or you have certain things that you don't have depression or you're not stressed, but that is not true. Some of the most depressed and stressed people in the world are some of the most wealthy and some of the ones that look externally happy. So understand that and stop thinking that just because someone has things or whatever that they're not sad or that their stories don't matter, because they do. And you need to ask them as well, are you okay? Is everything good? Put that little effort. So, and ask them, what do you need?
I love you, sister.
So yeah, I love y'all.
Thank you, Denise.
I love you.
Bye,
thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your strength, and thank you for sharing it.
You welcome. Oh, and thank all y'all for your emotional labor, because this is emotional labor. And that's another thing. Stop doing work for these people. This goes to my trans people. Don't work for these people and not get paid. Listen, it's all cute and all to get a job and it's make sure they're paying you your motherfucking worth. Make sure that when they actually come and speak on panels, and this is me coming to do this is my aunt, I'm gonna do whatever. But if you actually come to something, I'm gonna definitely invoice your ass. By the time I'm done, I send you an invoice, and I need to be paid for my time, my pain, and my emotional labor. And people forget that that's what just because you're trans, they think it's a good thing we're going on the space. No, baby, pay me.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Run me.
Run me my toy.
Run me.
Well, this has been a wonderful conversation, a wonderful forum. I hope we've learned some stuff. I think we've got some great camaraderie going on. We've got to now put some of the things that we talked about into action. We've got some personal growth here. We've got some professional growth. And now it's time to truly, we planted the seed. Let's see what kind of harvest that we can get out of what we planted tonight. On behalf of Renaissance Cares, I want to turn over the floor to Unspoken Treasures so that our wonderful CEO can leave us with her final words. But again, thank you guys so much for the opportunity to share, to communicate, and to continue to make a difference in our LGBTQ plus community. Natalia, Regina, take it away.
Thank you, Randall.
I just want to say, I thank the ladies who found it not robbery to be here tonight to speak their truths and speak on this very important subject. I love my community, and I honestly want us to unify. I want us to love more. I want us to be there for each other more. I know it's not easier said than done, but I would demonstrate in my behaviors what I want. You know, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. So I'm gonna try to be there. If you already know where I'm at, I'm all over the internet. I'm everywhere. I'm always in Atlanta. If I need to come somewhere else, hit me up. You know, let me know. But I am trying to be that vessel that brings peace within our community as much as I can be. And I just want you all to know, please go out and vote. Please get out and vote. Our lives are at stake, literally. And we need to get out and vote. You know, we need to get out and vote. And I can't stress it anymore. We need to vote. I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I just hope that somebody, somewhere, listening, feels that they can start changing after this forum, because it's something that's really needed, change. Our community needs a change. We need a wave to just wash through of change. And we need to unify and love on each other. And with that, thank you.